Hi,
Hello,
Misha. How are you?
Ivo. I'm doing good. How are you? You look good today, Ivo.
Great. Yeah, of course. The weather finally changed over West Europe, and so we are not anymore at 40 Celsius degrees. So that's perfect. I love this.
And
And how about
honestly, I can't wait till my kids start and go back to school. That it'll be a lot quieter, a lot quieter in the house. Welcome to ADC Live. Actually, I wanted to give a shout out to all the folks who are joining. I think there's a lot of folks at Lumis. Some Lumis joined, our colleagues from LumApps, and some of our counterparts, our partners and customers, and folks we know from the past. So thank you all for joining. Today we have a busy agenda and we're talking about analytics. This is our part two to the previous deep dive. So before we begin, it's very super important to us. Your feedback is huge because it helps us drive these things. It really helps you to help us. It helps you to drive the agenda and to kind of talk about things that are relevant to you. So give us your feedback if you are, if and you likely are a LumApps user, either a Lumi or you're a customer of LumApps. Please come to the Hive and come to our Hive space, and you can actually vote directly and tell us directly about what your feedback directly from the Hive. And how do you do that? That's actually very simple. Let me just show you. So here, this is the our ADC Hive partner space. Simply go here. You can type in ADC partner and search, and our space will come up over here. And once you're here, just below navigation, it says click to take the ADC Live survey. This is our survey extension that we built and that we're extending with LumApps. You have the option, since I already kind of voted, but this is just an example. You can go through and vote for the episode. Was it useful? What did you like most? What would you like to know or know about? And we come back again. Very important, highly recommended. Gives us a lot of guidance for future episodes, and of course, because we're doing this really for you. So, without further ado, let's go into the first part of this, which is going to be the pro tip of the week.
yeah,
So,
let me speak about that. In fact, about the pro tip this week, what I have thought is that given that our episode today is entirely about analytics, what better if the pro tip was about analytics and engagement, right? So this is why I have decided to speak about something that we have implemented recently. So I'm just going to switch the stage and show you what you mean. So here, for example, we are collecting all the data from our homepage. So in this implementation, we were curious about which is the most used widget on our test homepage. So this is our test homepage, and you can see that we have the survey widget that is positioned here on the right, but it's not the only widget that our users are interested in. For example, we have our latest news, but you have to scroll to get to those latest news. And if you scroll even further, you have here the emails and the calendar that are quite useful for our users, right? So we were curious to know where the focus of our users was directed the most. And that's why we have set that up in our Google Tag Manager. With a few tags in our Google Tag Manager, we are able to collect that data that you have seen. And so, in particular, what we have noticed is that all the clicks of our end users are directed to a single widget on this home page. It's very, very visible from this chart here. So the survey widget is the one collecting the most answers. And we also wanted to dig a little bit more into this. And so we are showing here a table telling us who has interacted the most with that survey widget. And so, for example, here on this table, you can see that we have all the survey widget events with a clear indication of where the event has been produced and who the user uh, was, who the user interacting with this widget was. And so, how did we do this? Well, in particular, the first part you have seen it. It's in the Google Tag Manager, but there is also a second portion that is being extracted directly from the LumApps data lake. So this is a way to whet your appetite because later on during this episode we will be speaking about the LumApps data lake and how you can leverage it directly from your favorite BI tool. So that's all about this pro tip for the moment. So Misha, it's back to you. What are you excited about?
And I just want to say on this point, if as a comms person, as a communications somebody in comms, right? If I go to the homepage and I'll be very curious to know where are folks clicking, and you will, I think, on our dashboard, folks not reading our news. Everybody's clicking on
Yeah.
the, everybody wants to vote, but they're not clicking the news. And I would really want to know that. So obviously, that's for measurement strategy, that's for content strategy, kind of figuring out which widgets are most active, least active. A lot of times, LumApps, as you know, integrates with Google as well as Microsoft, and also kind of has this out-of-the-box extension widgets, right, for Google, Gmail, Calendar, Drive. But there's really no real way out of the box to measure engagement in these widgets. It's nice, it looks nice, right? With this ability, this analytics add-on capability that you can do simply with Tag Manager or some data blending, you can actually get that engagement, those engagement numbers, and see are those widgets useful? Do people actually hover into their email widget or into their calendar widget, to their Drive widget? If not, get rid of them. If they are, great, keep them. And maybe are folks really actually clicking on the news from the homepage or on the post from the homepage, right? If they aren't, are they scrolling deeper and on the homepage or not, right? That's where we have the scroll depth analysis enabled. So all these things, really, especially for the homepage, kind of your front door to your experience, that's the main thing. So we have to put out more news so folks will read them based on
Yeah,
this
sure.
story.
Our news so far are not really interesting. Our survey widget is way more interesting, apparently, right?
That's the right. That's the latest. That's the most interesting part. So what I'm excited about, actually, so there was a lot of new capabilities with AI and making things a lot more streamlined, making kind of search first experience using AI capabilities. And as somebody who is who's like a page admin or a site admin, and they want to know at a glance, hey, what are the biggest engagement numbers? Who's the most active user? What's the most active content? Right? Usually, kind of have to go to the back end, have like 4 or 5 clicks, go to site analytics, go to the content in LumApps, go to scroll down, which is totally fine, like a clear out of the box solution. Here, what we've done, and you will tell us more about it, but at a nutshell, you can actually put in a search, ask AI, hey, who's the most engaging user? What's the most engaged content? What's the content with the most views? Right? And it'll give that to you. You can do it directly in LumApps with a little bit of integration, connecting the AI to data lake, right? And bring the data in from your environment, right? You can actually get those answers very, very quickly, especially folks who have access to data like site admins. So Ivo, tell us how you did it.
Yeah, sure. Of course. Let me switch once again the screen. Well, just a little detail because when you speak about very quickly, it will take a few seconds. Okay, you have to imagine that this takes a few exchanges, but the idea is that recently on the news you got plenty of advertising about MCPs. Those MCPs allow you to connect any kind of data source to your favorite AI assistant. And so in this case, what we did is that we have bridged the gap. And you have an assistant that is present directly in LumApps, right? That is Ask AI. And we have connected Ask AI to our MCP. So we prepared an MCP extracting data from the LumApps data lake. And so this Ask AI in LumApps now is knowledgeable also about the LumApps data lake. In terms of general knowledge, of course, such as what are the available tables in the LumApps data lake, like in this example. But better than that, you can directly ask questions, for example, about the most active users. Here you will see the lag. It will be of about 20, 25 seconds. It is going to take a while, but we will get the information about who is the most active user on our platform. And this has been done connecting Ask AI in LumApps to an AI agent that we have implemented that is on its turn connected to our MCP. Oh, wonderful. The demo effect has it once again. Let me just re-execute it because as I was saying, it's going to take 25 or 30 seconds. And the LumApps micro apps are limited in terms of time, and a call to an external API can take up to most 30 seconds. So going back to my original explanation, here we are connecting LumApps to our AI agent, to our MCP, to the LumApps data lake. So it's 4 steps away. Okay, fine. It will not be working today. However, this is the idea. You could be connecting any MCP to Ask AI, given that it answers with less than 30 seconds, in less than 30 seconds. So this was all about this, and now I think that it's up to you to. What do you think about this, Misha?
I think it's that's a really great way to use technology and to make things easier for admins yet again, less clicks, faster results. I think that's really what it's about in a very streamlined employee experience system. So let's see. 1 second, putting up the slides. So next, so just briefly, ADC, who we are. For those who haven't logged in yet or haven't been to ADC Live, we're a real digital consulting, LumApps partners, tech partners, fully certified LumApps from front end, back end, and top down, bottom up strategy, UI UX design, integrations, and we're really here to make it a very simple, very happy experience for our customers. LumApps is evolving, has been evolving, and the ecosystem is complicated, and the product itself is very conducive. So we're here to kind of make things simple and fit it best into your use cases. We have over 30 extensions in the marketplace and counting, including the advanced survey widget that we just saw, where you can have multiple questions and trivia. And we also, if to learn more about our extensions, you can go to adc.docs.dev, and there you'll see all of our extensions. You can search for them and see something that you like. Contact us. We're happy to show you, give you a demo, and deploy it to your environment. Ivo, LumApps DataLake Studio.
Yeah, of course. So the idea, is that this episode is the second episode in a series, and so this is the continuation to ADC Live episode that we have started 2 weeks ago. That was about the LumApps analytics, and so it's about the LumApps data lake. And today, the idea is that I am going to show you how one can connect the LumApps data lake to a BI tool, and in this particular case, to Looker Studio. So I will be starting from the LumApps data lake official documentation. So the LumApps data lake is composed of a set of tables, and you can see that you have datasets, external and external staging. And then in every one of those 2 datasets, you have categories such as LumApps Learning, Building, Analytics. And on every one of those categories, you get a few tables. So what we are interested in is in leveraging this data to extract insights about a user engagement, generally speaking. So how do you do that? The first step is to keep reading this documentation where you have a section about connecting to the LumApps data lake. And in this section, you have plenty of potential BI tools for which LumApps has already provided a documentation. In this case, we have like a Metabase, Looker, ClickSense, Tableau, Power BI, and so on. What we are going to show you today is how do you connect the LumApps data lake to Looker Studio. That is a Google product. In this BI tool, well, in the Google Suite, you have the possibility to use something that is called Google Apps Script. This apps script is a solution by Google that allows you to execute custom code related to a few kinds of items. In this case, the item will be a new Looker Studio connector to a third-party data source. So LumApps provides you with sample code that you have to integrate in such a connector created in AppScript. We have evolved a little bit that code. And so in this code that we have produced, that we have implemented, the user will be able to select, to choose among a few tables. And so the user will be able to select one among users, posts, contents, and communities, for example. And then they will be able to set up such a connector in a Looker Studio dashboard. Once you have implemented this code, once we have implemented this code on your behalf, you will have to deploy this solution thanks to this button that is present on the top. In our case, we have already deployed it a few times, and so we have proposed a link for every past deployment. And so this Data Studio add-on URL proposes you a step-by-step, like this one, where you will see our connector that we have called LumApps DataLake Omnia by ADC, because it allows you to connect to any kind of LumApps DataLake table. And you have to supply a few informations. These informations are partially supplied by the LumApps support, and partially you will have to interact with your IT internally in order to get this information. The very first information comes from LumApps, and that's the production project. This name changes according to the cell, to the Hostman cell, where your organization is being hosted. The second, instead, is a service account credential. And in this case, that's your IT that will have to share this information. However, if you ask LumApps to enable the access to the LumApps data lake, you will have to share with them this service account's credentials. So here, essentially, we are asking you to supply the information that you have given to LumApps or that LumApps gave you once they completed the inscription to your data lake. Another information that we need, of course, is the table that you want to use in your Google Data Lake. For this kind of demo, I am going to select the users, okay? And the language, of course, that will be English. So you have to know that in LumApps, you have plenty of, the language support in LumApps is kind of good. And so in this case, your digital workplace has content in every kind of language. That is particularly true for communities, contents, posts, and so on. But in this case, it's not really useful for the users, but it's helpful to specify a language for the other pages, the communities, contents, posts, and so on. So once we click on next, it is going to will for a second And then at the very last, you will be prompted with this connect button. The connection is going to take maybe a few seconds more, but what you get is something like this. This is a recap of what is available in that table. So in terms of dimensions, you can retrieve from the LumApps DataLake the email, first name, ID, and the updated date. That is the last timestamp at which this user information has been updated. But let's have a look more in detail about this table. Once you click on Explore, you can build a draft dashboard. And in this case, for example, what I am interested in is to have an idea of which are the available users in our data, right? And so, for example, what could be having here? Well, let me show you something. This one is very nice. It's a way to explore the data. But once we have connected the connector to a dashboard, like we did, what can we really obtain in terms of information? Well, the most interesting sample I think that we did is something like this. So you can merge the information that is present in the LumApps data lake, such as the LumApps user email, the LumApps first name, and so on, with the data coming from the Google Analytics. So we have spoken at the beginning of our presentation that you are able to collect engagement data about single widgets on your home page, right? And so here in this case, we have connected the data present in the Google Analytics, ADC LumApps Workplace. You can see the little icon about Google Analytics here on the left. And here on the right, you can see that we have connected to the LumApps Data Lake Omnia. And in this case, we have the information about the LumApps users. The condition is quite simple. You have this LumApps user ID that is connected to the ID of the other table. However, what this gives you the possibility to browse the data, joining two very disparate data sources, such as Google Analytics and the LumApps data lake. So that's very helpful when you want to fill the gaps, because not well, it's a pain in the neck to configure the Google Analytics in order to connect to collect the LumApps user information thanks to the user profile fields, right? So it's very useful to have that data also available in the LumApps data lake, because that will spare you a huge effort in terms of Google Analytics configuration. So this is something that we can definitely do. And what we get is that we join the power of the Google Analytics to the power of the LumApps data lake. It's a quite good source of information for your dashboard. So this is the very first part about this exploration session. Do you think that this could be helpful, Misha?
I think it's very helpful. I think this has been proven helpful. I think it's been proven
Yeah.
helpful.
So yeah, of course. Well, we have been speaking a lot about LumApps data lake connectors and stuff like that, right? So now, well, let me remove my screen because, in fact, I would like to speak about a second topic that is well, what we implemented a couple of weeks ago that we have shown before earlier today. That is about MCPs, AI, and to have the possibility to query third-party APIs directly from your favorite AI tool, right? And so in this case, what I am going to show is something in that same spirit. In this case, what I am going to share is my Claude. So maybe somebody knows what Claude is, and Claude is an AI agent from Anthropic. And in this AI assistant, I have started exploring the LumApps DataLake, as I did previously um, in the LumApps micro app connected to Ask AI, right? In this case, Claude is a bit closer compared to LumApps because we don't have to rely on LumApps. We need just to rely on Claude and on our MCP that is running directly on this computer. So here, in terms of latency, the experience is quite faster compared to what we had previously. And so what I'm showing you here is the very first query that I did in my Claude project about the LumApps data lake. And so I have just asked him to summarize what is in the LumApps data lake. Let me explain a little bit more what he did. So very first, he started listing datasets that are the containers for the LumApps data. And then it listed all the tables in this dataset. Then for every one of them, it produced the table cardinality count. It had a few previews, and he got the table schemas. And last, it produced something like a summary about the LumApps data lake. So what tables are available, which kind of indicators you could be extracting, and so on. And this was a kind of helpful because it helped me to implement more queries. For example, what I was curious about is our LumApps Play. So I must admit that I have never used the LumApps Play in our sandbox, and I was curious to know which were the most used, the most consumed videos on our platform, because other people at ADC produces videos and somebody also visions them, right? Plays them. And so I was curious to know more about that. And so, for example, the top most played videos on our sandbox environment is this ADC onboarding welcome intro. It's very, very short because it looks like it's just 3 seconds. And it had one unique viewer. Okay, maybe we have something that is more, that has been more viewed than this. Um, Yes, we have this one, ADC intro community post in real time widget. So that's a very old video that I think that I did a long while ago, and it had 2 unique viewers and 1 day with activity. So wow, what a success! That was my video, right? And and then well, you have more information in the LumApps data lake about, for example, learning. So the learning platform includes all the content that can be used to train your co-workers, right? And so in the LumApps data lake, you have engagement about the learning, which kind of trainings have been followed the most, and which is the engagement of your employees about the LumApps learning data. And of course, well, given that the demo has failed on some previous, in our previous demo, let's try again, this time in Claude, given that we have oversold its properties. So let's have a look at how fast it is, right? In this case, I have just asked which content had the most views in the last week. And now it's extracting all the data from the LumApps dataset. So you can see that we have the table schema that is being extracted, and it has listed the tables and so on. Meanwhile, it produces a continuous stream of information. And we will see that in a matter of seconds, it will summarize the results of that query. So now you don't need anymore to learn SQL that is a computer language, in order to extract the data from the LumApps data lake. You just have to connect it to your favorite AI assistant, and it will produce the information that you were asking for. And so that's it. And that's all for today. So you can see that the top three content last week are the homepage, the ADC customer satisfaction, and the guest word in the last week. So that's all about this introduction about how you could leverage the information present in the LumApps data lake from your favorite Power BI, from your favorite BI tool, and from your favorite AI agent. So that's all about it. So, Misha, I think that you wanted to add something. So I will thank you for your availability to let me speak today. And back to you.
First of all, this was really informative. And to those who are still here, I know it's top of the hour. I just want to reiterate again that your feedback really does matter. This was obviously very, very advanced. I would say more on the advanced side, and it's very informative for folks who are interested in these kind of deep dives. But come give us feedback. Go in the Hive, and we'd love to make things that do more future episodes that are more conducive, more deep dives, or more things that are more on your level of interest. What's next? So I have, I think, two very exciting and also insightful sessions coming up about metadata. We're calling it metadata mania, LumApps metadata. So part one and part two. The first one, part one, is going to talk about the why, how, do's and don'ts of metadata. As you know, metadata has a lot of scopes within LumApps, a lot of use cases, I should say, LumApps, at least 5, 6, maybe even 7. So we'll cover it in the high level. What are those 5, 6, or 7 areas, levels that metadata covers? And we'll go into those in a little bit of detail. Part two of Metadata Mania is going to be talking about structuring your data, structuring content in LumApps with metadata, and using it to power search and AI, your search and AI tool, whether it's Coveo or Glean or whatever else, and how to structure the data. And that's where Ivo is going to talk to us a little bit more about it, how to extend that out into another search engine and beyond. And lastly, what would you like? That's the last point. Is September 24th. That's an open one. We can go deeper into metadata and go, or we can go into governance and roles, or we can go more into analytics. You tell us. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Ivo, thank you so much for your knowledge, your insight, your sense of humor, and the amazingness that you bring. And we'll see you guys the next one. Bye.